Morning, guys. It's nice and fresh again. The heater on. So today's plan for the few hours, or for the 2 or 3 hours that I'm probably going to be here, I want to revisit these wood pieces. I want to tighten this up if I can, flatten a little bit here, tighten out here so it sits a little better. And just, I want to do a double check of measurements just to see if that's all fitting good, and work out whether I need more spacing under the grill shell for like a rubber block or whatever. I've got, in the last video, these little square blocks of rubber that had a hole in them. They just happened to be lying around here that were probably, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch thick, I suppose. So I've got 2 of them. They might mean quite a 1/4 of an inch thick, but I've got 2 of those on each side of where the bolt comes through. For the radiator, that's actually bolted and clamped down. If you haven't watched my last video, which I'm still in the middle of editing, so it's not up yet as of recording. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that's right, get those bits fitting right, and then I'll get into fenders, doing body work and finishing off and shaping all the bits that aren't right and drilling all the bits and pieces. That'll be the next sort of that'll be the next sort of video or 2. We'll be doing that stuff. And then hopefully in the next few weeks to come, we should be getting really cleaned up. And once I sort of finish these bits and pieces, I want to work on some linkages and bits and pieces around the motor. Like I'll probably get that carburetor back together in the next couple of 3 or 4 videos. I'd like to do that. And then work on all the little bits and pieces for that, around the motor linkages and all those sorts of little details that it's nice and easy to get out while the motor's here. I've got a chance to figure some stuff out because it's actually in the car. And so just, yeah, get the back, just check the fitment, the back fenders to the floor, front and back. Make sure they're sitting square and level as much as possible to the car. And do a final look round the bits and pieces I've done, just make sure I haven't missed anything or need to revisit just any little details before we get into the real clean up of the bodywork. Because I'd like to hopefully, so we're fairly well into, what are we, June? So hopefully by the end, by August, mid-August or late August, I'd like to be heading in towards getting to high build, or sort of August, September. I'd like to be at that sort of point. So basically run it apart, hit the chassis away, hopefully get the sandblast, get it back together and paint it, and then start obviously doing the body work. So probably apart for a long time, and then hopefully we can get it back together and primer and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, just to check fitment on my last time at this, but yeah, chassis painting and all that sort of stuff. That'd be cool. It'd be good to get to that point. Hopefully, yeah, next sort of probably 3 months, unless I can actually get a chance to be here longer each day, sort of 3 or 4 hours, or more than sort of 3 to 5 hours. If I can get here for sort of 8 to 10 hours a day, progress will go faster. But yeah, and if I get the odd bit of hand here and there, it'll go faster. So yeah, I'd like to think by sort of late August, September, we should be well and truly into high build and body filler and all those sorts of things. Easy once we've sort of gone around and cleaned the chassis up and all that sort of stuff. So I'll get into it. Beautiful. Liking that. It's just a little bit of hammer and dolly when we're into finishing. You know, like these little pieces like, oh, this has got a little bead in it and stuff like that, but I'm not worried about that. I'm just overall fitment at this point. You know, and just get the worst of it and just get things actually fitting. Like that's just little pieces I can just hammer straight before I go into when I'm basically getting ready to etch and stuff like that. Like, you know, I can just do a little bit of hammer and dolly work, just do the odd little tweak here and there, you know, before we blow some etch on it, clean it cleaned up, and then, you know, like this. Just a very light skim of high build, or probably not high build, body filler, or laser cutting, or, you know, probably just needs a little. I would probably just give the whole thing just a very light skim, a very, very light skim. Blow it off with a DA with probably 80, and then just high build the crap out of it. And I just high build the crap out of the inside and just, you know, block it and sand it and whatever on the inside as well. Just get it really, just give it probably 2 or 3 coats on the inside, just nice big thick heavy coats. Block it so it looks good and smooth. You know, if we need to go any further than that we will, but on the outside, yeah. Just a nice thin skim, like a full skim, a body filler. Blow it off with 80 grit or even 60 or something like that. Just knock all the high off it until it's all one colour, even with even on a big Durablock with 80 or something like that. Just whack it all off and then just smash it with the eye build. 4 or 5 coats, you know, and then just block it back until it's glass. That's the plan. But yeah, sweet, that's beautiful, that's what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Obviously we just got to space that right so I can put those pieces back in so it still sits like that. And I've got a little, as I said, like a little nick and just that bloody bucket to just blend out, you know, with a little bit of hammering and just small stuff, you know, when we're just before I go into that final stage, I just quick check, stuff it, whatever, just mark all the little spots and make sure I knock them out, and then just check it again, make sure there's no other little spots I miss, mark them if I get them, and knock them out, and then hopefully anything else we'll get with high build, body filler, and yeah, blocking it out. So sweet. Next, I think we'll get into these guards, eh? You pick that one. We'll get this one on, and yeah, I'll start freaking making this shit look nice. Get all the fucking crap off it, and yeah, start hammering and making this shit look nice. Get all these lines nice and straight, because it isn't very straight down there. It's like then it's not very straight. It's not really bad, but we'll get it straight and then we'll get it straighter. If I can get down there closer. It's a bit wavy and we've been decreased out here and just straighten it up, and then we'll go over it again and we'll get it straighter. But anyway. Right. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to address this flange that's been put back on here. It just doesn't sit right. This here is at the right angle, this here isn't, and it's probably not too bad back here. It's got like a bow in it. So I want to try and see if I can pull that round to meet up with this, and then obviously I can weld it up and fix it. But yeah, we'll try and do that first. I think that's a start. Grab some lunch and I'll come back for another hour or so and refit that and then do some more, just see if that's fitting nice now. Right, so I've just shot back for another hour or so. I've decided, now that I think I've got that reasonably straight, it lines up with that other tab where it was cracked and broken. So I'm going to try and weld that up, or clean it up and give it a run of some weld down there and grind it back, and hopefully that'll be strong. And then I'll test fit it back on the car just to see if that's looking okay against the chassis and all that sort of stuff. If I have to, I might come along and actually, while it's bolted on the car and got a couple sets of vice grips and stuff on it, I might even just hammer it along that chassis in the guard, just in case it's not fitting 100%, but that should be right. So I'll give it a quick weld up and we'll clean out my weld up and we'll refit it and see how that fits. Try again.
Oh well.
Yeah, just started on this. Fixed this because this was the one that had that. It looked like that was really bent, so I've straightened that out fairly well. Welded that. Now I'm going along trying to get this as straight as I can. Obviously that way, and then obviously that way, so it looks like it's nice and fluid, hasn't got any stupid bumps in it. And I'm also chasing like the worst of the humps and bumps and stuff in here, just trying to get it all nice and level. And then obviously I'll work around it and do all these other bits and pieces. So that's what I've been doing today. Well, for the last hour or so. Well, now that I've got that bolted down, I think it still needs to be higher, but I re-rolled these tops a little bit, just fixed them. I got them sitting really beautiful now. They're sitting so freaking good. I'm absolutely happy. Because I had this a bit high, and then it was still sticking out here, and this here wasn't quite tucking in as nice as I wanted it to. It was sort of sticking out a little bit, so I've got that sitting really nice now. So that's cool. So it's just meant to get these front fenders or guards really nicely smoothed out, as good as I can get them, and then yeah, carry on down the line and fluff around stuff in here. But a pain in the ass, I've actually got to pull this off to frickin' put the fenders back on because I can't get the bolts in there. There's no room in around the spring or between the chassis and that frickin' balance. So I got to pull that off to frickin' put them back on to test it. Morning guys. So welcome back again. I'm not sure if this is going to be in 50 or 51. I've done a bit of editing for 50 and I've got a fair few minutes, so I might try and add a little bit more to it from today, and then we'll see how we get on. Basically today's going to be some panel beating these front guards, and I just put up 49 this morning, and it's only probably been up about less than an hour, and I think Wayne Reynolds has officially lost the plot. I think I got like 8 or 9 comments from him. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Unfortunately, in my last video that I just put up, I was hoping to, over the weekend, go catch up with my cousin, but my stepson, he was crook sort of last week, and then the young fella started getting it, and I think I might have a touch of it. I feel a little bit heady, not hardly anything, but I just got a remnants of just a touch of a sore throat and maybe a little bit funny in the nose. So I don't really want to go see him and get him crook. Hopefully, if I can knock it on the head before the end of the weekend, we'll go out and catch up. But I'm really gutted because I didn't realise, but a really good mate of mine that was also living in Perth near my cousin's brother, and they are all over here at the moment, and another mate of mine that now lives in Christchurch, which is a big city sort of halfway out the South Island. They're all at my cousin's place at the weekend, which is really gutting. It would have been quite cool to get a photo of the 5 of us together. And basically, for the general crew that we used to kick around with, there was only a couple other people missing, so it would have been really cool to get that photo, from when we were sort of like late teenagers and in their early 20s. It would have been quite cool to get a photo of us all again together. Hopefully we can still do that at some point, but But yeah, I think he's going in for, I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like he might be getting back to Dunedin next week, I think, just to organise a schedule for the chemo. So yeah, I definitely want to try and get to see him this weekend coming. So yeah, hopefully get to do that. But anyway, I'll get on beating in these guards, which I don't think, by the time I speed up a whole heap of footage, it should only take a few minutes, and then I can add it to the end of the video. So yeah, whether all of today's is in 50 or whether I start 51 today, I'm not sure. But I'll work that out when I get a little bit further on. Still pretty cold here. We've had some really heavy fogs for sort of like, I think most of yesterday was sort of heavy fog. It sort of broke later in the afternoon for a couple of hours, and then it closed back in again. So it's been pretty cold here the last couple of days. Like it never gets really deep into the zeros, like, you know, into the minuses, but if you get that heavy fog come in and it sort of stays below that zero mark, it gets pretty miserable here pretty quick, because it also gets very wet underfoot. But anyway, I'll keep bashing this, see if I can get this straighter. Pain in the butt. I'm going to have to take all that other crap off so I can keep test fitting this, because we've got to take the balance off and the radiator and everything off. But yeah, I sort of hadn't really thought about it, but yeah, you can't get your hand up there between that valance and the chassis rail and the spring. You can't get your fingers in there to get the bolts and nuts back on to hold the guard on. So I'll keep beating here, and then we'll, if I get a chance, I'll bolt them back on. Righty guys,
So I've hammered on this thing. Unfortunately, I ran out of diesel in the heater, so now I'm freaking, because it's freaking so crappy outside. Not that you can really see, but I'll walk out there in a second. The freaking fingers are frozen. But yeah, like I've got the shape, I think, pretty good now. There's a few spots where it's very awkward to get back in, especially like here, because there's a lot of extra material and stuff in there, like from the brazing or bronzing or whatever you want to call it. But I've got it roughed out pretty good. I'll just try to sit back up there again. I've got it roughed out pretty good. It's a bit rough through here, but I just haven't really quite got the right shape, hammer, or a few other things, because it was almost it was roundy in here, or it's quite sharp. So I've beaten it out, so it's a bit more pointed in through here. But I really need something. I almost need to make another hammer that's sort of the right shape, plus that the head's on the right angle and stuff, because I'm really restricted. Like I can't get the hammer in there flat enough with the handle. The handles are either too long or I just can't get it in the right angle. So I may, before we really get into nitty gritty, depending on what I've got to do with that other, I might have to make something up so I can just come along and even maybe make something to fit the outside profile a bit, just so I can beat this shape a little better. But the rest of it I've got pretty good. Like, it's not dead perfect, but it's good enough now that you could actually, if you just skim the whole thing with a wee bit of body filler and just knock it back until you started touching steel, it would be actually pretty good. And I think the rest of it you get with high build, apart from just needing to work this a little bit more. I think I've got everything else pretty good. I might just have a wee bit more play just around some of these edges, just to, because of that rolled lip and it's got wire in there, there's a few spots which is not bad, but I need to go along and just hammer sort of back in a little bit with a dolly on the outside, just to just get rid of a few more bits that I'm not 100% happy with. And there's a couple little holes just where it's been welded at some other point. It must have been torn through here or something, and I've got it pretty good, but needs a little bit of weld in there. And I think if you flip it over, there's a couple of spots as well. And there's a small crack in the wire up here somewhere. There's a few little bits and pieces like that, and I might need to do a little bit of hammer and dolly work around here, but it's very, very minor. If you put a skim over it, you probably wouldn't feel a lot of it. You can actually see. I need to just do a little bit of work around here, but it's had the back end that's sort of replaced as well. So it just needs a little bit of dressing up, but it's not bad. Like you can feel it, but it's not actually that bad. Like, it wouldn't be bugger all to cover it if you left it. But I might just run over it with the hammer and dolly. But I'm actually feeling it bloody good. With my son-in-law fucking being, I'm not the son-in-law, mate, stepson being cooked there. Now the young fella sort of feeling a bit off colour too over the weekend. Today, a couple of times I felt like I was going to throw up, so I don't know whether I might come back this afternoon or not. I might just have a quiet afternoon and just freaking keep warm. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I've done a lot of work around in here. Heated this to try and get this, because this edge has been all stretched, so I've heated it to try and get this lip to come back in, and then I've beaten this out because it was flat in here, and as I said, like, try to peak it back so it was more like this, and then because it was really round, it was almost round like that, where it needed to be more peaked, almost, if you know what I mean, like come across and then roll and then back down. Like, it had lost that shape. It was quite sort of flat and rolly. I've tried to peak it back up. So yeah, I'm getting there. No, I done a little bit of hammer dolly work in here. There was a couple of humps and bumps in there. Needs a little bit more. But again, it's almost, yes. I'd love to frickin' raid Arco's frickin' hammer and dolly pile, just because of the few bits and pieces I've got. Just sometimes I just haven't quite got the right thing, and you're trying to do it with something that it's not quite the right shape, but it's close. Or they ideally love something like this, but it kicked the other way, so I can get in here. That's one thing I want. Yeah, because I just, even if I'm in behind, I'm not quite, that's not the right angle. Yeah, and I don't want to screw around with that because it's a really good hammer for doing other things. So, yeah, I might have to make some more, make another couple of hammers just to do what I want. And maybe, I don't know, make a bit of a dolly out of something that I can just, even if I can get it close to this sort of shape, so when I hold it over top and hammer it from underneath, just to try and get, especially where I've been beaten on it, to try and get that back out, to smooth it out a little bit. If I knocked the worst of the high bits down, I could just fill it with body filler and it wouldn't be bad. Like, it's never going to be horrendously thick or anything stupid, but it's just, I'd like to get a little bit nicer than that if I can. Anyway, I'll shoot home, have some lunch, and then see if I feel a bit better, and maybe come back afterwards. But otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Wondering why it's cold here. You see, like, it's quite foggy, so like there's no sun coming through at all. When it's had all, like, it was basically a frost, but it wasn't quite a frost, so it's only like 1 or 2 degrees.